हाँ
This module is on project risk management, which is a part of construction project management course, unit 4. So, risk concept. Risk can be defined as a measure of the probability, severity, and exposure to all hazards for an activity, and this definition was given by Jannadi and Almishari in 2003. For an infrastructure project, there is always a chance that things would not turn out as exactly planned, and thus the project risk pertains to probabilities and uncertainties of the technical, schedule, and cost outcomes. If we speak of project risks, primarily it pertains to cost uncertainties and schedule uncertainties. Risk is a function of likelihood and impact. Likelihood is the chance of occurrence of a particular risk, and impact is the consequence of that particular risk which has occurred. So this impact is generally measured in the times of cost overrun and time overrun. So generally operational risks are not included within the domain of project risk management. So though risk cannot be eliminated from a project, but it can be reduced. We need to understand that risk is a component which cannot be eliminated. So it is always wise decision to accept that particular risk and try to reduce the severity of that particular risk, and this can be achieved through the project risk management. So this particular project risk management comprises of three basic steps. So step 1, risk identification; step 2, risk assessment; step 3, risk response planning and mitigation measures. Risk identification. So risk identification can generally be done with the help of interaction with the experts. Feedbacks from the experts and professionals are taken through questionnaire survey and also through personal experience. So risk identification is the first step. So for each and every activity, the risks need to be identified, and after identification of that particular risk, we need to create a risk breakdown structure, RBS. The risk breakdown structure generally is created with the help of a work breakdown structure, WBS. So for example, I am carrying out the piling work. I need to identify the different kinds of risks which is associated to the piling work. For example, the risk which is associated for the fabrication of the pile, the risk which is associated with the boring of the pile, risk which is associated with the installation of that particular pile, risk which is associated during that particular construction of the pile, which may be the different kinds of accidents. So after identification of this particular risk, so then what we have to do, we have to go for the analysis of the risk. Now the sources of risk. So generally the risks stem from an unusual approach, then attempting to develop and use new technologies, training for the new tasks, developing and testing of the new equipments. And the project risks are generally categorized into internal risks, which originate from the project, and external risks are which are the factors affecting the project. So internal risks, it may be the technical, design and execution risks, and also the market risks. And external risks, they include government regulations, interest rates, competitors action, customer needs and behavior, supplier relations, adverse weather conditions, problems in the labor availability, market conditions, scarcity of resources, and force majeure risks like earthquake, fire, flood, etc. So the common sources of risk for infrastructure project, this particular risks which have been listed out are the common sources of risk. So they include delay in approval of the detailed project report, DPR, land acquisition risk, design risk, technology selection risk, approval and permit risks, joint venture risks, financial and investment risks, political risks, environment related risks, geotechnical risks, major and minor accidents during execution, unforeseen heavy rain, force majeure risk like flood, fire, earthquake, etc., labor agitation and strikes, inflation risk, delayed payment from the client, delayed payment to subcontractor, and geopolitical risk. So risk identification techniques, first of all analogy. So depending upon the similar kind of projects, we can identify the risk. Then checklists and questionnaire survey. We need to prepare a checklist. Then we also need to do a questionnaire survey. WBS analysis. So after work breakdown structure analysis, we need to carry a risk breakdown structure analysis, RBS. Then process flow charts, brainstorming. So brainstorming session is a very important component of identification of the risk. So all the associated experts, they need to brainstorm in a particular brainstorming session, and finally they need to identify the risks for each and every activity. Now the next step of risk management is the risk assessment. So this particular risk assessment or the risk analysis is generally of two categories. One is qualitative, second one is quantitative. So if we do a qualitative analysis of the risk assessment, so in that case what happens, we can classify the risk as a low risk, medium risk, high risk, very high risk, and critical risk. And if we give some numerical values to that particular analysis, then it becomes a quantitative assessment. So if I give a numerical value, say 0 to 0.1, and then I can term that particular risk as a low risk. So 0.1 to 0.5, I can term that particular risk as a medium risk. 0.1, 0.5, 0.15 to 0.2, I can term that particular risk as a high risk. 0.2, 0.25, I can term that particular risk as very high risk. And say above 0.25 to 1, I can term the risk as critical. So risk likelihood, as I have said, it is the probability of occurrence of a particular risk, and since it is a probability of occurrence of a particular risk, the value should always lie between 0 to 1. For example, if there is a chance of COVID-19 to occur in Ahmedabad is say 90%, the value is 0.9, and if there is a chance of COVID-19 to occur in Junagadh is say 10%, so the value is 0.1. So likewise this particular value we have to express. Risk priority, so depending upon the risk severity, so we need to prioritize a particular risk. So generally risk severity can be calculated with the help of this equation, that risk severity is equal to likelihood into impact. So whatever likelihood value is there, if we multiply by the impact value, we get the severity, and then we can classify the risk severity to low, medium, high, very high, and finally critical. PART, project evaluation and review technique, is a very sensitive model for project risk management. The reason is that PART model helps us to find out that how we can find out the variance of each and every activity. So higher the variance, higher is the risk. So the PART model is a very sensitive model which can be used in project risk management. Also we can use Monte Carlo simulation. So Monte Carlo simulation is a particular technique by which certain values like the likelihood values and then the risk weightages values, which is obtained from the questionnaire survey, so that can be iterated with the help of computers. So if that values are iterated with the help of computers and we can carry say 10,000 iterations, so that particular value will be more refined, that value will be more dependable. Last step, risk response planning and mitigation measures. So the final step of project risk management is risk response planning and mitigation measures, so in which primarily the first step is transfer of risk. So the risk, it is always not the liability of the client, but actually it has to be transferred from the client to the contractor, to the subcontractor, to the vendors, so that all the stakeholders of a particular project, if they share this particular risk, then this particular project will definitely be successful. Avoiding the risk, no, it is not possible, because avoiding the risk is actually not possible and it is a stupidity. What we need to do, we need to accept the risk gracefully, and our objective should be to minimize the severity of the particular risk. Reduce the risk, yes. So how we can reduce the risk? employing most capable contractor, consultant and designer, establishing a standard safety department and ensuring that the safety rules and regulations are religiously followed by the project personnel and workforce, using mature computer aided system engineering tools, establishing a fully equipped quality control department, providing the project team with adequate incentives for the success and providing good amount as safety awards, hiring experts for the critical review and assessment of work, performing extensive tests and evaluations, using effective management information systems for the project monitoring and control, minimizing system complexity, and finally using proper design margins and risk-free designs. Finally, risk contingency planning. So risk contingency planning is the very important and integral part of present day risk management. So generally 5% of the project cost is for risk contingency planning. If something happens, the risk contingency planning should support that particular activity back on track. So these days, according to the government regulations, we also need to have a contingency planning for COVID-19. So almost about 3% of the project cost should be kept aside for COVID-19. So mandatorily, hand sanitizers has to be provided to the construction workers, masks has to be provided to the construction workers, and also periodic sanitation has to be done to the construction site and also the site offices. So these are certain measures which mandatorily we need to follow after the work resumes after the lockdown period. So almost about 3% of the project cost need to be kept again as a contingency planning for COVID-19. So risk contingency planning is almost about 8% of the project cost. So accept the risk. It is better to accept the risk and plan the mitigation measures accordingly. And finally, we can also explore the possibilities of insurance as a risk mitigation tool. So insurance is a very strong risk mitigation tool. So we need to explore the possibilities of insurance as a risk mitigation tool. Finally, we can see that this is the overall learning of project risk management, that risks with severe impacts, means the impact is very high, should be carefully treated. We need to carefully treat it no matter how small the likelihood of occurrence. So the best example is an earthquake. So for an earthquake, so the likelihood of occurrence or probability of occurrence might be say 10%, 0.1, but if it happens, the impact is very high. It is 90% or more than 90%, say 0.9 or 0.99. So no matter whatever should be the likelihood of occurrence, we should always treat this particular risk with utmost care, and we should not ignore any kind of a risk. Thank you.